this is going to be, and that we're going to be sharing this information on our website. So I'm going to kind of start over again a little bit here. So I want to welcome everybody to our first episode of the Queerburner Leadership series. Today's focus is going to be a lot on services and placement. We got people from those two departments at Burning Man organization that are going to talk to you guys a little bit, and then they're going to be open for some questions at some point. The total time that we'll be together today is up to an hour and a half. Probably won't get that long, but that also depends on the energy that we produce here together. We started off this being an in-person event in San Francisco, but times are what they are. And it turned out that going to an online event was going to be much more prudent and able to reach more people by doing that. So we have people all over the world that are going to really benefit from what we're doing here today and what we're going to be doing in the subsequent events going forward. Our second episode will be a focus on the Queerborhoods, which will be in April. And then in May, we're doing a little chat with Harley Dubois, who is one of the members of the board for the Burning Man project and the chief cultural officer, which is really exciting. I had a short conversation with her the other day, and I found it very enlightening and fulfilling to talk to her about queers in the community and some of the stuff that they're doing, that they've contributed to within the Burning Man organization. And then we're going to do a focus on Ride in July. And I've got some other programming that I'm looking to in the future before we get to the burn that will hopefully, strengthen and help build our community. Queerburners was started in 2008. It was just a little ragtag thing in an effort to get LGBTQAI Burning Man participants talking to each other and hopefully collaborating. We became a nonprofit in 2020. And we've took that time during the pandemic to create a foundation and build something really cool. It was a group of us. And together we got it to a really great point, and we're really excited about the road that we're headed on. Let's see. We are trying to be very responsible with what we're doing by creating safe and accountable spaces for all LGBTQAI Burning Man participants and our allies. And I want to also talk about some of the ways that you guys can participate as well. I mean, you've seen volunteer opportunities for this event and another one we're doing actually tonight in San Francisco. But we do have some positions on our board that are available for anybody who's interested in exploring that a little bit deeper. That includes our treasurer and our communications officer. So communications officer is actually kind of a huge job. So it's going to be probably more than one person or a team, but it could be very interesting and challenging for anyone who wants to take that on. Let's see. One of our first speakers today is going to be Level. He is the director of placement for the Burning Man organization. And then we are also going to meet Galaxy and President. I think President, do you lead OSS? Is that?
Yep, I'm the OSS manager.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry we haven't met yet, but I've just heard wonderful things from Galaxy.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Glad to have you here and to finally meet you.
Well, I'm glad to be here as well. It is 7 a.m. my time where I am in Melbourne, Australia. So I haven't had my coffee yet, so bear with me when it's our time for the presentation.
Still working on mine. And then we're going to hear from Farmer and maybe even Roxy. They're both out at Gerlach, and they're going to tell us about all kinds of services and things that are available for us out there. Just looking at their content, I would definitely recommend, camp leaders take a look at what they're bringing to the table, because They do have some really neat services that can make life a lot easier for a lot of camp leads. And then lastly, we'll be talking to AJ about Gerlach Gay Pride. Oh, and I forgot to mention, sorry about that, Joel, but you're gonna do a little bit of talking in between about one of the services that we offer here on Queerburners that hopefully people will take advantage of.
I will do that.
Thank you, sir. Level, are you here? Or you said it's gonna be a couple minutes late.
Hi, I just hopped on.
Right on. Are you ready to rock and roll?
I think so. Let me just, sorry, I am at a live in-person conference and ran up here to my hotel room to join this call. Hi, everyone. Should I just get going?
Yeah, take the spotlight. It's all you.
Great. Well, hi, everyone. It was great to see you all here. I can see there's 23 people on the call. So thanks for spending your Saturday here. I see some familiar faces too. Hello, hello. If you don't know me, my name is Level. I am the placement manager for Black Rock City. Placement, if you're not familiar, is the team of people that decides where all the camps go in Black Rock City. I'll talk a little bit about our process, and then I really want to just leave room for Q&A because I think that you may already know a lot of the stuff. And so kind of diving deeper into specific questions is what I'm here for. I also see KGB on this call. KGB there he is. Hi, KGB. He is on my team. He is the sector lead for 430 and is really interested in seeing what is on your mind. So let me, let's see. I can't share my PowerPoint, so I could be allowed to do that. That would be amazing. Just
try now.
Myself, I've been attending Burning Man since 2009. My camp is called Dilated People's Eye Spa. I think many people do know DP. We have generally been placed in the 730 sector, though in 2019 they were in 430. And that's been my home camp for many years. I joined the placement team in 2014 and became manager of the team in 2019. So have definitely a lot of burns under my belt. My background is in urban planning and city planning, and so there's no better city to plan than Black Rock City. So I'm really just thrilled that I get to be in this really interesting role to help make our city as fantastic as it is. Okay, let me find my PowerPoint or my slide deck. And thank you for just being patient with me fumbling through my stuff. Okay, here we go. Share screen. Share this one. All right, let me make this an actual slideshow. All right, placement, boom, Black Rock City, right there. Just out of curiosity, just put in chat, how many theme camps do you think we place every year? Or in 2019, how many theme camps were placed in Black Rock City? Just a little trivia. I'd love to see what people think. Is it 10, 20, 30, 40, hundreds? 1,500 is one response. Any other guesses? 200 theme camps. Someone's abstaining, probably because Dilemma actually knows.
1,700.
1,700, okay. It's somewhere in between these numbers. We have 1,200 theme camps placed in 2019 in Black Rock City, and a total of 1,500 camps altogether. So that includes art sport camps, work sport camps, vehicle camps, department camps. And yeah, that just shows you the sheer amount of work that we have to do on our team to make sure we understand who everyone is, understand all the interests of those groups, what they're providing to the community, who they want to be living by, who they want to be not living by, what kind of vibe they're basically setting. It's a lot of work. Our process starts in January, and as you all know, because you have work to do as well, submitting placement questionnaires, we really kick into high gear in the spring. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the placement process. in a second, but at first I'll talk about the placement criteria. So if you haven't been placed before as a camp at Black Rock City, there are several criteria that we're looking at. Specifically for theme camps, we are looking at your interactivity, your visual impact, and your uniqueness of offering. Interactivity is what gifts you're offering as a collective group of people. You know, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's bike repair, maybe it's a bunch of parties, maybe it's all of the above. You know, we want to know what you're offering, when you're offering it. And when you're filling out their placement questionnaire, we do ask for specific days that you're offering your interactivity. We don't hold you to the fire on that. You know, I think that things do change, we understand. And so it's just important to keep us in the loop about if changes do happen. Visual impact is about your frontage and how you look, how pretty you are, or if you're going for a theme, how are you meeting that theme? You know, we want to make sure that all camps are inviting and welcoming to just anyone passing by. We don't like RV walls. We don't like just big things that don't look like they're able to be welcoming of the stranger, which is one of our principles, radical inclusion. And finally, we added this criteria back in 2020 through the cultural direction setting process, which I can answer more questions about. I don't want to go into it too deep now, but we realized that a lot of people are questioning, like, do I just need to put some handles of alcohol out and on a table and call it a bar and therefore I get placement? So we want to make sure that people are really thinking about how they can creatively offer things, even things that you might see as common offerings in Black Rock City. You know, there's a way to, you know, make it a game or make it something, yeah, weird or interesting that someone might enjoy. The criteria you see here on the right, those bullet points are things we expect of all camps. I won't go too deeply into them, but, you know, obviously being a good neighbor, making sure you leave no trace, and things like that. These are all on the Burning Man website, so I highly encourage you to read that if you haven't yet. We have a team called the Camp Support Team that is here to help you. If you are, I think Dilemma is actually on the council for that. If you are looking for help, if you need someone to bounce ideas off of, if you're looking for mentors, we have other theme camp leaders who are available here to help you. If you happen to be a theme camp leader yourself that you want to actually share your knowledge with others, we're also always looking for people to bring into the fold. So a few key things that this team does, we put on an annual camp symposium. This year it's on April 30th. I highly encourage you all to sign up. I'll try to put a link in chat of the actual registration, or maybe Dilemma can throw that in there. You know, this is a great time to actually bring together all of Burning Man's theme camp leaders to learn from each other. We're talking about how to go green. We're talking about radical inclusion and diversity. We're talking about even just basics of like how to build infrastructure in your camp and leadership. So thank you, Dilemma, for sharing that link. And we also have monthly campfire talks. So, you know, you might have seen some of these. I think I see some familiar faces who have joined those in the past. They're kind of smaller versions of the Camp Symposium. Camp Symposium is a day-long thing where these talks are more like a couple hours. And then I mentioned this mentorship program. Oh, zooming through these. Let me go back. Before we take questions, I wanted to just show a little bit about the history of placement. If you look at 2010, this is a map of all the placed camps in Black Rock City. You should be familiar with the layout of the city. As you can see, there's a lot of little like black boxes, some little light blue boxes. That was the footprint of placed camps. The rest of it was open camping. And, you know, we always encourage people to come to Black Rock City, you know, just with their friends in a car and show up and find a spot. A lot of people, you know, the folklore on going to Burning Man is like, yeah, you just show up and like get a spot. So we want that to remain true, but I'm going to show you a slide next that shows you the change over time. So this is 2010, and in 9 years, 2019, everything you see here, all the red boxes are now what we place in Black Rock City. So that is far fewer, less space for open campers. It's something that we're actively thinking about. And, you know, I know that part of the reason why many people decide to become theme camps is because they're like, well, if you get placement, you get tickets, and tickets are hard to come by. And so we're going to be communicating more about that, about just how are we managing the system? How do we bring more people into the fold? How do we make sure that, you know, people that have really invested in this community remain supported? But it's a tricky nut to crack. You know, I think that, that we have been oversubscribed as an event and, you know, reached population limits back in 2012, and we're 10 years into it, and now we don't really have a lot of space left for people through the placement process. So that's something that I wanted to share, just so it gives a really visual reference, because people are like, oh, let's just place more camps. The unfortunate reality is that we don't actually have more space. We are limited by BLM in, you know, what our actual city footprint is. And so that's just a conundrum that we're hoping to engage the community more around as years go by. Last thing I'll say is, if you ever have any questions, if you have more questions that I can't get to today, please email us, placement@burningman.org. We have KGBs there, I'm there, all of our teams there to answer your questions. We try to get back to you within a day or two. And, you know, please include the name of your camp in the subject line. But we're happy to help you navigate. There's also camp support at burningman.org if you're wanting to sign up for a mentor or have just like a question, not about the placement process, but just like how to run a good camp. That's a great place to go. So I'll stop sharing now. I know I kind of zoomed through a lot of stuff, but I'm happy to take questions. So I think if you want to just raise your hand, there should be a little in reactions. You can go raise hand and I'll see your hand. I can take questions like that. So
I think what we did is I think Ruth or Tara, do you have some questions that people have lined up already?
No one has put any in the chat yet. So if we want people to put them in the chat right now as they think of them, or yeah, raise a hand if they want to do it.
I'd like to start off with something, you know, since we have Level here. The cultural direction setting team put a lot of energy into conversations and stuff like that a couple years ago. And, you know, from your presentation, I can see where you are talking about some key points that I remember coming out of that. You know, when talking about frontage and stuff like that, has this, and I also got the feeling that you're kind of trying to be flexible this year with people coming back. Am I seeing that right? Or how are we going to look at standards for placement with frontage and interactivity?
Great question. Yeah, I think that there's, you know, when I think about Burning Man and the planning for it, we're often thinking not just for this coming year, but like what's happening in, you know, a year or two or three. So when we're looking at this year, we have committed to all place camps in good standing from 2019 that they're guaranteed placement in 2022. And we're going to stand by that. So we've been also trying to message to people, you know, try to do less. Maybe it might, you know, this is the year that we're not going to be grading you as hard, right? Like I think we've all been through this pandemic. It's been a rough time. Some camps have folded, others are, you know, like their core leadership might have really changed over the past 2 years. So we just recognize that it's going to be a lift for all of us just to get out there. And so because of that, you know, we want to just like enjoy each other's company and hopefully dial things back in terms of expectations. So that's 2022. I think cultural direction setting did give us a little bit of, not a little bit of, it definitely sort of gave us a vision for where we want to go in the next 5 to 10 years. And so that's just going to take some incremental change over time. If you're subscribed to the placement newsletter, you know, I've been trying to be very thoughtful about communicating how things are going to look this year as well as in coming years. And there's going to be some things that you see that we're, you know, that aren't debuted in 2022 that do debut next year, the year after. You know, some things that we're looking at really closely are how does camp size impact things? You know, like is there a size that's too big, or is there a size, ideal size for a theme camp in Black Rock City? We're also definitely, you've probably already seen this, and President and Galaxy can talk more about this too, but you know, we're really honing in on how camps use outside services and becoming, their reliance on vendors to do things. We've already communicated that we are no longer allowing delivered housing in Black Rock City, and that's to get us towards a vision of making sure that we are truly self-reliant and truly able to kind of get rid of this constant, sort of nagging concern about plug and play camps in Black Rock City. So I think, this year there are some things happening, but you'll see more. And I would just say stay tuned through the placement newsletter and other forums like the Camp Symposium, where we'll be sort of, making sure we communicate with the community so that there aren't really any surprises. And I think this is all in the spirit of getting us, I hear a lot from older burners like, oh, back in the day, we used to be able to do this and that. And, I think that there's, while we're trying to evolve and, go with the times, we also do recognize that there's some special magic in how things used to be done. I showed that map of 2010, like people should be able to show up and then find a spot and not fill out a bunch of forms. I know people are like, oh my God, this is like a 50-page form that I have to fill out just to get placement. So, we don't want everyone to go through that. So there are just some questions that we'll be looking at more that I can speak to once we kind of land in a better place around. But right now, I think for 2022, the plan is to just get out there, have a good time, leave no trace. We're going to still hold people to that, absolutely. And yeah, I think that that's kind of the best way I can answer that right now.
Okay, let's go for another couple more minutes with some questions specifically for Level, and then we'll get Galaxy and President talking. But it looks like there's some great questions queuing up for you already. So I'm gonna pass this over to Tara and
Fantastic. Yes, we've had 4 questions in the chat now. So our first question is from Lovebird and is asking, so we all saw that the main sale tickets went down significantly to 10,000. And the question is, what was the thinking behind that choice and how will it impact placed camps?
Great question. Yeah, I know that there's been a lot of chatter through the different Facebook groups that I'm on about this particular question. What I can say is that our population is going to be the same that it has been in 2019. And if you actually look at the real numbers of tickets, that means the same number of people get to show up in Black Rock City. We're just slicing the pie a little bit differently and honestly adding a little bumper room to determine how to best reallocate that 10,000 that people feel like is missing. That may show up in the OMG sale later on in the year. We also have some new initiatives, which you may have heard of through our sustainability program and through our RIDE program, Radical Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity, where we are trying to make real differences in ensuring that camps that are, actually going green and that are, making a really concerted effort around anti-racism and diversifying their camps get supported with more tickets. And so that is something that we're really just giving ourselves some breathing room around so that we can determine how to best allocate. We'll still end up with the same population, so it'll be the same number of people in Black Rock City. But in terms of the way the pie is sliced, it's we're trying to give a little, just more tickets that are not committed to any group so that we can sort of assess once June and July come around about how to best allocate the remainder.
Thank you. That really connects to one of the following questions, was just that clarification of that there will be future ticket sales, which you referred to later in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the OMG sale, I think usually happens in July or August. I don't know off the top of my head. I think August actually. So it's pretty close to the playa. One other thing that I'll mention too is, we are also opening up tickets for new camps. That's a thing we have not offered in the past. And, we're trying to be very careful about how, what we don't want to do is everyone start a new camp because they realize that there's another pot just for new camps. So they were going to be pretty thoughtful about how we distribute those. And the communications that I've had for anyone asking about those right now is that don't count on these being the core group for your camp. Consider it being supplemental to what you have. But that is a new avenue of ticketing that hasn't existed before. So, with these new initiatives, we sort of need to make sure that we are not over taxing any one of them. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Thinking about how camps that have had placement. So if you've been a placed camp in the village, does that guarantee placement if you're no longer in the village?
Very good question. If we have a record of you as a camp and village, many camps have in the past filled out the placement questionnaire, then we can consider you a returning camp. If you're splitting off, then we can consider you a returning camp. Unfortunately, if you don't have a record of that, then there's no way for us to verify if you actually have been. Like there's people that can say, oh yeah, I was part of such and such village. So I don't want to get overly bureaucratic about it, but that is our best way to verify. And so yeah, that's how we will be reviewing that.
Awesome. We have two questions about hubs. So we have one from Lovebird and one from Russ. Lovebird was looking for a brief explainer on hubs, seeing as that's new versus the village model. And Russ was wondering how the introduction of hubs is going to affect placement.
Great question. Great questions. Let's see. So hubs, I might point you, KGB, if you could look up the hubs FAQ site, that would be awesome to share with folks. And I can try to dig up these links after I'm done talking. But hubs is a new program that we're starting. It's a cheesy acronym called Humans Uniting for Better Sustainability. It's essentially our way of sort of helping camps be proactive about forming partnerships with each other. Our hope is that camps can talk to each other and go in on a generator together, go in on a shared infrastructure, go in on carpooling, that type of thing. And we'll have we have a live form that you can fill out that says, I'm going to camp with Camp Z, and Camp Z can say, I'm camping with Camp A, and we'll make sure that you're paired up together. How is that different from the village model is a really good question. One thing that the main way that we see a difference here is that through villages, a village mayor is basically the spokesperson and main liaison with placement for their camps within it. And so villages are allocated an allotment of tickets. If there's 5 camps within that, they have to do the allocations across camps. With a hub, however, each camp will remain autonomous and still get tickets directly to their camp lead. In addition to that, I think identity is a big part of it. So a lot of times people want to kind of be paired up together and be placed together, but don't want to lose their identity as a camp. If you're kind of part of alternative energy zone, or if you're part of Hushville, or if you're part of Kidsville, these are big villages in Black Rock City. You have that identity. And so if you're like, well, I'm like, this other small camp within that, people don't know it. And so I think we want to allow for people to retain their identity through the hubs model. So the form is there to help us then when we do our mapping is what we're going to do is actually review all the hubs requests and try to put them in the city first because we imagine that they're going to take up a little bit more space. We want to make sure, and then also be kind of weird shapes possibly. So we want to make sure that we support that. This all kind of to zoom out a little bit is part of our sustainability goals as an event. We have a big ambitious plan by 2030 to be carbon negative as an event. So Burning Man as an organization is doing a lot of work right now to see how we can dial things back for our department camps and our staff from overutilizing resources. So we're hoping that that translates to the theme camp community too. And we think this is one way that'll help do that, is by saying, rather than bring 2 small generators or, maybe people going in on a medium-sized generator is gonna, work well across the board. So if you want more information about hubs, thank you KGB for putting that link in. I would say email us at placement or check out that page, and there should be hopefully enough info there.
Thank you so much for that explanation. We've had a few more questions coming in, but we've really just got time for one more. So we'll see if we can get the other extra questions to you outside of the Zoom meeting itself. The last question connects to sustainability and is asking about the Burner Express bus. Is there any thought about it running on a Friday so that people who are a part of the build over that first weekend are able to be there?
Yeah, this is something that Burner Express is thinking about. There, to be quite honest, are going to be some challenges this year with Burner Express because of supply chain issues and also the cost of gas. And there's overall more limitations on, and I'm sort of secondhand sharing this information, that the most direct way to hear information is to email Burner Express yourselves. I'll try to get that email for you after I stop talking. But yeah, I think we've heard, they have a complicated system of determining demand. They do send out surveys to their previous customers to try to understand what days and times people need to arrive. And so I think that's the best I can say. I do think that people, if you can be a little forgiving this year, we know that a lot of people want to rely on that, but we do rely on third-party bus companies and shuttle companies to that whole program work. And people are being honest that there are some issues that are constraining for us to be able to expand on the routes and the schedule that it's offered. So, but please direct more specific questions to them. I'm not the expert at it, but that's what the latest that I've heard.
Thank you so much for answering all of those questions. And thank you to everyone in the chat for posting so many good questions. I see that even more are coming in. I'll make sure to get all of those written down so that we can get them answered at a later time.
Yeah, I'll try to maybe just take some and write responses in Slack so that hopefully, or not Slack, in the chat, so that there's at least something there. And again, if you have more questions, email placement@burningman.org. I might be the person that responds to you, but I have a really awesome team that is just as knowledgeable and can share, the similar information to you all. But thank you for having me here today. I love all the queer camps in BRC. I think that Dilated Peoples considers ourselves amongst the community. So thank you. And I'll just pass it back to.
Thank you so much, Lev. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate all the information that you've given us today. It's been really helpful. And we'll be publishing this video out for people to be able to look at it. And certainly you have the placement address where you can send them any questions that you might have. Feel free to continue any conversation you have in the chat. And if you're still around at the end of this and want to answer questions, then we can let it roll for a little while and play with that. That's up to you. So at this point, I'd like to bring forward President and Galaxy. They're going to talk to us about outside services. Welcome. I'm so glad to finally meet you, President. And I've known Galaxy for about 1 million years. So, the stage is all yours.
Thank you. Well, I would just like to do a little introduction, and President will share some slides and we'll tell you about outside services. So my name's Galaxy. I'm the office manager for the department, and President is the leader. So that's us. And I've been burning since 2005 and took a couple years off, then back in 2011 through now. I've been in the role I'm in as office manager for 2 years on Playa and more years off Playa since we haven't been there in a while. So that's pretty much my role. And then President, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I've been burning since 2005, same as Galaxy. I haven't missed a year yet, and I've done theme camps and art cars and been an honorarium artist. So I've seen lots of parts of Black Rock City through many mechanisms and departments. So as the OSS manager, I just really love the part of my job, which is helping camps do the incredible things that they do to gift to the community. And I started in the role in 2016 and have been, caretaking it ever since. And so I'm really excited to share some of this information with you, because we've been making some really great changes as a result of the cultural direction setting process, and just having these past 2 years off has been great to do some more deep philosophical thinking around what the program is, why it started, and just kind of capturing the history and the decisions that we've made to get us to this point. So let me go ahead and just go right into the slides. I'll just share my screen. Oops, sorry, 1 second. It's always the fun part of.
While you're doing that, I'd just like to do a quick little survey with the hands about who
Sure.
has heard of outside services before. If you've heard of it, wave your hand on the screen or put some hello in the chat. Cool, that's great. I'm glad so many of you have heard of the department, because I know a lot of burners have never heard of it. So the department exists to basically provide the support necessary, whether it's equipment or services, for camps and other groups to be able to do what they do. President, I'll let you jump in here.
Yeah, that's great. So first, though, before I go into OSS, a big change was announced that kind of isn't our department, but is our department, which was at the Steam Camp Symposium. We announced that there's no more one-time refundable delivery tickets at gate. And some of you are probably like, wait, that was a thing? Yes, it was. And originally this predates me as the OSS manager. And actually, I didn't even know it was a thing. But it started to kind of help participants with last minute problem solving. But what was happening is people were abusing that privilege and just using it to do unauthorized business on playa, which we have different requirements for what can happen on playa for our permit, which is, I'll go into that in a second. But I want to make that very clear that there are no one-time refundable delivery tickets. That's important because if you're expecting to be able to get deliveries into the city, you're going to have to get it into the OSS program, and there's really no other avenue in terms of that. So I'm happy to answer questions after the presentation about anything and everything OSS. So I just want to make sure that is clear, because we announced it at the Steam Camp Symposium. We published some information. It's all on the website, but sometimes people just don't get the information, and we don't want any surprises. We really just want to be able to help people do things right within our permit stipulations and make things easy through OSS as much as possible. So, what is OSS? We started the program kind of reactively when there was just a lot of things popping up on playa that, businesses trying to make money off Burning Man. And of course, we don't want that to happen. We're a decommodified space. So we did realize that there are situations where third-party providers can help theme camps, artists, and mutant vehicle owners and things with certain services and equipment. So, but the main thing is we want to support the communal effort, culture, and long-term sustainability of the event by regulating this access to the event. And by regulating it, then we're able to make sure that we are protecting our culture and that they are giving good quality of service, and that they have the appropriate licenses and certifications to do the business that we're going to do. We have to do due diligence in that way. So all the OSS providers that we have in the program are vetted. They know our culture. It's our way of making sure that if we are going to open up our decommodified space for any type of business, that we are caretaking that process with our due diligence and complete awareness of who and what is coming in, if that makes sense. So we had to make a lot of changes for the 22 season. We're excited to share, of course, as Level already mentioned, that there's no more delivered housing through the program. That's a huge decision, which is great. Some of you might go, oh, well, I didn't even know that was a thing either. And I'll even tell you that I didn't know that when I got hired in 2016. At that time, I was a 10-year burner, and I was quite surprised to understand that was something that was offered. So we're really happy because through the CDS process, cultural direct spending process, and through a lot of the time that we had off, we were able to really come up with a clear and transparent framework for why we would allow business to come into the playa and what business is that, why would we allow those services. And so this framework helps us understand what is acceptable and why we would allow that. So we're calling it ACEs, which we love acronyms here at Burning Man. So it just means allowable categories of equipment and services, because what is that camps and artists and people need to come in that they can't bring in themselves through radical self-reliance. So we basically created 3 basic pillars. So this a Venn diagram was the best way to kind of illustrate what we're looking for. And in between those overlapping pillars is what we would consider allowed. So an equipment or service has to do something to help with the health and safety of the event. Like, does it make more sense for a professional to do it? Like, say, large power generation systems. We don't expect you as a person who may not have any electrician experience to be able to sustainably and safely deliver a huge power grid. There's certain reasons why we would allow what we allow. So there's also the middle spot where they all align, and that is the sweet spot, as we call it, where we are actually encouraging businesses that can meet all of those criteria in the middle. Sweet spot. So the key messages I wanted to leave people with is that we're basically correcting the failure that we had in allowing delivered housing to become pretty much the very backbone of convenience camps that was being used in that way. And part of eliminating it is taking strides to make Burning Man hard again. And then we're going to basically, this slide is actually wrong, mid-February. We've published on the website all of the changes that we've made to OSS to be more transparent. And so, really, what I was seeing in the CDS data about OSS, there were some questions about it, and people who filled it out really were of 2 minds, where they were like, we don't like housing being a part of OSS. We see how that is actively degrading our culture. But at the same time, they would say, but we love the services like water and power and things that we use with our camp that makes it easier for us to give these great gifts. So we are happy to be able to have realigned the program in that way. And then the OSS program was open this year to new providers in certain business categories, especially alternative energy and anything that helps us with our sustainability goals. And we really want to make sure that we're an experimental city, and we want to look at innovative new ways that we can be, we can leave it better and be more sustainable. So it's really exciting. But the other part of OSS is that I actually have to wear 2 hats as the OSS manager. And I like to say I'm a burner first, but at the same time, I've got this whole aspect of commercial compliance, which we can debate the 10 principles all day about how what we're doing can and can't fit one principle or another, but I don't have that option with my other hat, which is regulatory compliance. And so there's this really strange kind of dance that I have to do between being a burner and being the person who looks after commercial compliance and the permit. And it's just a fascinating world that I've learned a lot about, and I'm happy to be the person in the position to help guide us through that. So the other point we want to drive home, and I'm sure if you haven't heard of what a SRP, a special recreation permit, is, you will now. Basically, any business activity that happens on playa has to have a special recreation permit. So Burning Man, we take out a very large special recreation permit for the event. But in that, it also means that any of the OSS providers, or even now any of our event production contractors who aren't doing OSS, they all have to have their own special recreation permit as well. So the application period for this year has already closed. We did a big push out in the placement newsletter, to the artery emails, through DMV, to all make sure that before the February 23rd deadline for the SRP had passed, that we got that information out there. So let's just put that in the back of our minds for next year. If there are any businesses, especially those that are in that sweet spot, that you would like to introduce to the OSS program, make sure that you're on the ball early in February, because that's when that deadline is always 180 days before the event. So we just want people to understand the regulatory framework that we have at Burning Man. I know it seems so strange since we are a decommodified space, but that's how we get to have this wonderful event on the public lands of United States of America. So we're here to help. So always make sure that, the email here, outsideservices@burningman.org. Please hit us up with any questions. I'm happy to point you to the right direction. I can't necessarily make recommendations in terms of which provider to use, but my job is to make sure that they're all vetted and able to deliver the services that they are signed up to deliver to you. So that's great. So I'm going to stop my share and we'll open it up to some questions.
I appreciate that so much. It's great information you guys are providing, and hopefully these changes that you guys are talking about will see a great improvement. I know the stuff going on with these 20, you pay $100,000 to go to Burning Man, some of these camps will kind of fade away over time. I think, Tara, do you have some questions stacked up for some?
Yes, I do. We're at 4 questions already, which is fantastic. So the first question comes from Joel and is asking, are in and outs still permitted? So if a camp's sending someone out the gate to pick something up and to return.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I don't think that we have been clear yet as Burning Man. And I know that there will be a blog post coming out yet, but in my official capacity, I think I can say that yes, you will be allowed to go in and out. The only thing that I will add to that is that we really want to make sure that we've got sustainability goals, right? So we want to make sure that you're planning your camps in a way that is as sustainable as possible, and that you are limiting the amount of ins and outs. We're also going to have this health check requirement, which I'm not quite sure what that is yet, but we want to limit your ins and outs, because if you're going in and out, then you probably have to go through that more than one time, and that's all resources that are being used, as well as we don't, we're still in a pandemic year, and we want to be limiting interfacing with the gate staff and not putting extra, strain on their resources as well. So just, be very considerate in how you plan your infrastructure, and use OSS where you can for general trucking. It is a service that is offered, and a lot of people are moving to a container model, and yeah, let's just say definitely just if you want if you want to discuss this with OSS and whatever, please send us an email. I'm happy to do so. I'm a resource for all of you to help get your stuff into the city in a sustainable and efficient manner.
Awesome, thank you so much. We have a question from Matt from Land of Monkey asking, why is bike rental not allowed this year? There's concerns around abandoned bikes, MOOP, increases in waste. And then we have a follow-up question from Russ, just thinking about not being able to rent bikes having an impact on planning and transportation for camps.
Sure, and there was a good blog post about this 2 years ago when the decision was made, but I can answer this with my commercial compliance hat on. And basically, if you're renting something on Playa, you have to have a special recreation permit. That it is, no matter if they gift their repair services or whatnot, that's fine. But if they're actually delivering a service from their camp and you're taking that bike away and you've paid money for it, you need to have a special recreation permit that is legally required, and it's a business. And so we've also made it very clear that as a theme camp, you're not a business. You're sharing your resources as a group of individuals to come together on public lands during our event to gift these wonderful things to the community, right? You're collecting dues to provide for your own facilities, make sure that it's all in the spirit of gifting this larger thing to the community. And so that is not a business. And we need to be very clear about that, because if you are a business, then you need a permit, and that's not what Burning Man is about, and that's not why we all come together in the spirit of the gifting economy. So so bike camps were kind of riding that edge line where the BLM became involved, and there wasn't a way for us to continue that model unless it was just going to be that they were giving bikes out for people to borrow and return. And that could be a model that happens. I don't know. But that part is out of our hands. And I think I saw Level go off mute, so I'm sure he has something to add to this particular question.
Yeah, I also want to just say, if camps, we want to just make it really clear, camps are not businesses, and that, camps to us are groups of friends or, community. You're part of a community that are coming together to do a thing on Playa, offer gifts. When we start to get into the realm of business, it really gets really sticky. And one thing that we want people to know is that we're fighting the good fight with BLM to make sure that they don't meddle in the business of your camp. We might have a future if we do let them meddle, where you have to submit all your financials to them, or placement has to review that. Like, who wants that future? I think that the more we can ensure that we are doing everything we can to make sure that culturally and commercially people are going to Burning Man because it's a camping trip and not because it's a business opportunity, that is where we're headed. So just want to make that really clear, folks. And I think that is obvious for a lot of people. They're like, wait a minute, yeah, of course, we're just a group of friends. But there are, there's over 1,200 camps out there that we're managing, and there are some of them that are riding this line. And so camps like Playa Bike Repair, Hammer and Cyclery, unfortunately, we're actually raking in a lot of money and not doing it properly. And we want to kind of draw a really clear line between a camp and a business.
Thank you. I appreciate that explanation. We have a question from Dr. Dilemma. Is OSS able to promote, encourage, or even help coordinate camps using hubs to share resources like power, water, or lube?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the deepest understanding of the actual timeline and processes, but absolutely, I'm 100% in support of hubs, and I'm, can help shepherd the process in any way. The OSS providers do have to let us know exactly what's coming in the city and when and where it's going. And so, it could be that through OSS, sharing a generator, just whoever is the person who's actually making the transaction with the provider would be like the best point of contact. I don't know, this is new, so we're all very excited about it. And there's lots of ways that we can work together, especially using OSS equipment to help make the city more sustainable and really, iterate and experiment and all sorts of things. So it's really exciting. And I guess it's not really an answer to your question, but more an invitation to get me involved in whatever way I can be a resource for hubs to be successful through using OSS stuff.
Yeah, I agree. That can be a great way for people to be working together to limit resources in that way by sharing. So thank you for that. We're up to our last question, which is
one thing.
Yeah.
Just about hubs, I would say, one reason placement doesn't want to force marriages and say, hey, you're like, that's your neighbor, deal with it, is because we realize that actually, renting things and going in on contracts together does require a certain amount of trust. And so, I would say if you're thinking of a hub, make sure it's someone you trust, right? Because you're going to be splitting costs together. You're going to have like in a contract together, someone has to put a credit card payment down. So the more that we can make sure that you're doing things, we're ultimately not going to be liable for those partnerships. So just, as much as we want to encourage that, we also recognize that that those are things that you'll have to sort out before you actually team up with someone. So that's all.
Yeah, and on that point, like, it's also about the distance, right? It's like literally how much distance is between like your camp and the other camp that you're potentially going to be in a hub with, because things like the power, they don't travel long distances very well. So like when our camp Beaverton wanted to share power with Comfort and Joy a few years ago, it was a complicated thing because we were across the street from them, and so we couldn't run the cable across the street. So that type of thing, I think, is good to sort out ahead of time, and the hubs will help with that.
Thank you for adding both of those extra points. We have our last question.
Can I just add a last thing about, particularly for power generation? There is the Burning Man Run petrol program, and I know that they're going to be putting out some great resources as well in terms of what it means to share a generator and what that means for if you're getting deliveries for larger generators to the petrol program. So there's lots of information on the website I want to point people to in terms of the petrol program, fuel storage requirements, and things like that, because power is, you know, a necessity on the playa. And I just want to make sure that we know the right places to go with that information and how to best situate your generator in your camp plan, and all of that. There's some great information out of there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think we're at time for right now, so I'll put those, the final question in a direct message so it can still get answered in the chat for us.
Thank you. And if you guys are still around, you know, I'm open to, you know, leaving the page open and for people to kind of get a few more questions in after we've wrapped with our last presenter today. Thank you so much, President and Galaxy, for all the information you guys have given us today. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us. And I hope you get your cup of coffee. Hopefully there's somebody there, President, to get you some coffee.
Oh, yes, absolutely. My partner is like the best barista.
Oh, awesome. You're so blessed.
Well, I live in Melbourne, so the level of coffee quality here is through the roof.
Oh, nice. So next up, I want to go ahead and roll into Joel, who's going to talk for just a couple minutes about one of the service our website provides, and just encourage camps to sign up for that. Take it away, Joel.
Thanks. Let me share my screen. Here we go. I promised that I would be able to do this in 60 seconds. So let's see if I can do this. Hey everyone, this is the Queerburners website, this is my quarantine at home project. When I was stuck and had nothing to do, I called up Scott and said, hey, I would love to fix the Queerburners directory, and it grew into the whole Queerburners website. But we do have a spectacular new website since the old days, and everything is shiny and new. And the best part of it, in my humble opinion, is the theme camp directory, which was always my favorite thing, to look at all the camps and see what everybody was offering and where everybody was. And so this is what the theme camp directory looks like. You'll notice pictures now, which it didn't used to have in previous generations. And you can expand them to see what they really look like. And I just want to encourage everybody that has a camp, whether or not you want people to know about it or come to it or join it, to submit to the theme camp directory. Doing that is really simple. You just go to the theme camp directory. It's right here, camp directory. Click on submit. That'll take you to this page. You sign in using your Google account, just so you don't have to make an account for Queerburners. And remember the password for that. And so hopefully you have a Google account, or you can make a free one. And this is sort of what the form looks like. You can provide your camp name, how you identify. Everybody's just putting this, so I'm going to change to that. There you go. A brief about your camp, which shows up on the homepage. Where you think your location is, you can go ahead and edit this when you get placement. How you want to be contacted. If you want to be contacted, you can upload one picture of your beautiful campers. Some other stuff like this that we're just kind of gathering. If you're open to new members and you're looking for new members, check that box. You can provide basically instructions for anybody that wants to join your camp for literally the first step they should do, and kind of the first URL they should go to if they're interested in joining your camp. Notice there's two emails. There's one up here, which is a public email, which shows up the public. Mine says info@futureturtles. But down here is the email if we need to contact you, and your name, so that we can reach you to the public. So that is the Queerburners camp directory. Everybody go fill it out now. It takes less than 60 seconds. Oh, if you had a camp before and you log on with Google, we might find it, and we might actually just be able to copy all your records from a previous year. So you won't have to retype everything and come up with a new description of your camp. That's all I got for you.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you so much. And thank you for, making this just look amazing and awesome. I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
The next person that we're gonna have talk, I think, is gonna also be joined by a Gerlach celebrity in a way, at least when I follow her on on Facebook, I get to see a lot of cool posts from out there in the desert. So we have Farmer, and I think I see you, and Roxy, I think might be joining us. Farmer, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Let me know if you can't, because sometimes I start mumbling. I'm Farmer. I've lived in Gerlach for almost 50 years. I've missed 3 burns since I've been in the Gerlach area. I just came out a couple years ago. And so this is a whole new community for me that I'm getting to know and enjoy. First of all, I'd like to talk to you about, see if I can pull it. We're going to talk about storage in the Gerlach area. Like this. I lost everything. Awesome.
Is Cobalt there to help you?
Nobody's here.
Oh, sorry.
I have like 5.
Toaster, you might have to share from your screen if Farmer's having an issue.
Yep, I have it set up here in case you need it, okay?
I lost everything.
Okay, let me launch it from here then.
How do I even get you back?
That's okay.
Teamwork
We'll
makes
do
the
it from
dream work.
here. Give me just 1 second. Give me 1 second. We'll get it going here. Apologize for the delay.
Cheers to you, Farmer, for coming out. Woohoo.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. All right, so you just tell me what to do. Just
Here we go.
Yeah, I still can't see it, so you just have to tell me what's on there.
you're on the first screen for your thing.
Hey, I think this is just an introduction to me, isn't it?
It's the Gerlach screen.
Huh.
Can you see it all?
Yeah, go ahead and just. I can't see it, so I guess I'll just have to try to go by it by memory. I think the next screen we go to storage and empire. Or the 4 storage areas.
Yeah, you got 4 local storage options here.
Yeah, so those are the 4 areas that I got information from that are local and semi-local to the area and already store stuff for the Burn Man event. I think on the next screen we go to Empire Storage and Burn Pit.
Yeah.
And those we didn't get a chance to put pricing on, but I have the pricing for them. We ran out of time because we spent so much time on the end of the thing. But I have information for all the pricing information from them. Or I believe we put the contact info in there so you can contact them yourself. Hey, I have somebody here. I'm gonna help you out.
So the next screen is for Iverson, right?
I think we started to Iverson, which is where Roxy's at.
Is this is Iverson where Roxy is at?
Yes, Iverson is where Roxy is at.
Roxy, can you see your screen?
I'm
okay?
at.
Can you see the screen, Roxy?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Why don't you talk about Iverson while we got you here?
Hey, we have the screen on.
So,
It's Roxy's event.
Go ahead, Roxy.
go ahead. Okay, so Iverson Ranch is, we are 12 miles past the playa. So when you leave Gerlach and you're going towards the playa and you're in all of that traffic, if you were to leave the playa and make a right, so in other words, just keep going, we're 12 miles up the road there. We're located just near Fly Ranch. We are 320 acres. It's actually pretty much an oasis up here. It's very beautiful. And we have storage. We store theme camps. We store containers. We have containers for rent, for storage. And we also store a number of art cars, mutant vehicles. With our storage, we are open 365 days a year, 7 days a week, and 24/7. So you always have access to come and work on your stuff. If you do rent with us, you do get 4 free campers because we have a campground here also. It's a primitive campground where we have showers and bathrooms, and you could also camp here before the burn or after the burn if you're doing some staging or getting your stuff together, or after the burn, putting it all back properly into your storage area. We also have cabin rentals up here, and we store anywhere from very small camps up to some of the major camps. They're motorhomes, they're art cars. We have some that have 10 motorhomes and 3 art cars and plus. So like I said, we're 320 acres. So we're one of many. I don't say we're better than the rest. We all have our own different quirks and advantages. And really all I want to say is support Gerlach, and you're helping to support all of us. So thank you.
So Toaster, can you go to the next slide?
Yes, sir. There we go.
So we just
Nuclear logistics opportunity.
Yeah, so Roxy, we have like 6 slides for your ranch here. And so here's one.
There you go. So yeah, so I'm Roxy de Playa. I am trans identified female, and let's see what else is on there. Oh, Kitten was really excited because when Kitten came up here and toured the property, Kitten was very excited that it's much more than just storage. I mean, it is a full ranch. We have some horses and so forth. And it does offer a unique possibility for work parties, for different training retreats or getaways, things like that. I think you wanted me to add, Kitten?
Yeah, so next slide. There's cabins, there's a kitchen, there's meeting areas, there's art car storage, there's plumbing in the cabins. Do you want to talk about the cabins, Roxy?
Yeah, so most of our cabins have their own bathroom with on-demand hot water showers. We do run off well water here, so it's really good. We are totally off grid, so we have we generate all of our own power, and all of the cabins have power. We do have a full commercial kitchen, which I think you just showed the roof of in the top middle there. That's fully equipped. And a lot of the different camps that do store here currently, like before the burn, a lot of the month of August, they'll start getting their things together or doing some of their last minute builds off playa here. And they'll cook in the kitchen, or they'll work out a community cook schedule and then have an easy access to the playa on the non-traffic side from us. So it's a great community area year round, actually.
I got to say, I love the sign that says no county official beyond this point without a warrant and sheriff.
It's very Western. We're so Western.
Next slide, So I thought we could talk about the events that you've had there before with other theme camps. This is a DJ exhibition.
So for the last 2 years, there's been I'm not sure what they call the non-burn burns. And some of the camps, what they've done is they decided to make their base here and then drive out to the playa. And so on the back half of the property, we set up kind of a DJ area here where they raised it up and put speakers. And then we have different motorhomes and outbuildings back there. And they were able to build kind of a community area and put together a kitchen and showers, and everybody got to, camp out and put together a whole off playa burn. It was pretty cool. That's our back half part. We're a mile deep. Our ranch was a mile deep, and that's the back half there where I built that. Yay.
Oops.
Yeah, go back to the things. These are things that makes Everson different.
Is this where I should be?
Well, the biggest issue is distance because there's a dirt road you have to go down. So even though it's only 12 miles, it takes a half hour to Gerlach. That's the biggest issue. And
yeah, that's correct.
Just what makes it different is the next slide. There's like 4 different things that are. You actually have kitchen access here. None of the other storage areas offer that. You can stay overnight and work there for a weekend or several days. None of the other places offer that. You have awesome people like Roxy to interface with. Roxy's very experienced in the leather community. And there's actually indoor storage and outdoor storage. So you can do art cars, you can park your semi there. I don't know if you want to talk
Right,
about
our most popular kitten is definitely outdoor. Is a lot of the mutant vehicles and RVs that people have that they want to store their vehicles close to the playa year round, you know, that they're not using it. The indoor options, just so people know, the indoor options are all container, indoor containers.
And then the last one is we just cut and paste from your price sheet. So if you want to talk about your prices and are they flexible and stuff.
Pretty straightforward. We have 20-foot containers, we have 40-foot containers, and there's the price. $12.50 a year, $2,000 a year. And again, that comes with 4 people being able to camp up to 2 weeks on either side of the burn to kind of get, you know, the organizational parts ready and whatnot, or, you know, gear up for the burn, if you will. The mutant vehicles, you know, we definitely work with you, but this was a rough price list as far as the size of the mutant vehicles, anywhere up to 25 feet or over 2,000 feet. And then another big one that's really getting more and more popular is theme camps buy a semi-trailer. And they look for a place to store the semi-trailer, which we have plenty of space here with 300 acres. And then they use outside services to hire one of the trucking companies to come up and get the trailer and pull it onto playa. That's becoming more and more popular. I think that it's a great option. I know I camp with Sunset Lounge, and we bought a used moving trailer, 53 feet, and I think we got it for $3,500. And so we store it here at the ranch for $2,000 a year. And I mean, we have a 100-person camp and it carries everything. It's great. We just go on to outside services. We hire one of the trucks that will come up here and get it and pull it right to our camp. We use it as a kitchen, you know, during the burn, and then load it up and come back up here. So semi-trailers are a really good storage option because they're mobile and they're easy to get somebody to pull them.
And on the screen right now is Iverson's contact information if anybody wants more information about that. Any final notes, Roxy or Farmer?
Well, there's Farmer's contact information next screen.
I'm sorry, well, the extra voice we're hearing is Kitten, by the way. We didn't get a chance to introduce him.
I just ran in from
with Roxy and Farmer. And
there's one more slide and that's Farmer.
Okay. Oops.
It's just Farmer.
Look at that face.
Farmer. I have to go back to work. Good luck.
Okay.
There's my contact info if anybody wants to go over me.
All right, and we'll share that information too. Let me go ahead and get out of the screen share. How do I get out of this? All right, I'm not sure how to get out of this. Someone bounce me out if they're at the controls. So any final comments, any questions for Roxy and Farmer?
We had one question just asking about whether Iveson delivers or picks up trailers and things from the playa. So whether there is that pickup or delivery option.
We don't. We just use the same. I think President put a screen share up earlier of the outside services list. There's 4 or 5 different trucking companies, and you just got to contact one of them, and they'll pitch you a price to come up and pull it out. That's the commonplace. We don't do it ourselves.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I think any other specific questions can just be emailed straight through. So we've got those contact details. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Roxy and Farmer. I'm not sure how much you guys are involved with the next part of our conversation when we include AJ, when we talk about Gerlach Gay Pride.
Howdy, my name is Atticus. Everyone calls me AJ. And Farmer and both Roxy, they are very involved. They were at our first committee meeting last month, so it's very exciting. As an aside, Iverson Ranch is absolutely beautiful. I went up there for a work weekend a couple weeks ago, and the facilities are bar none compared to every other place in the area. So I highly recommend visiting Roxy there. So yeah, my name's Atticus. My pronouns are he, him, and they, them. I'm a trans-masculine, non-binary human and a full-time resident of Gerlach. I arrived up here in 2018 and I did my first 3-month stint with DPW, and I've been working DPW ever since. I fell in love with the area out here and I decided to stay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Gerlach. I'm sure you guys know a bunch because you pass through every year for the event, but you know, as a resident, we kind of have a different perspective, especially about what it means to be queer living in the wild, wild west, essentially. So Gerlach only has about 160 year-round residents, and that population includes ranches that are 30 plus miles away, as well as the Empire mining facility, which is only 7 miles down the road. We have a small but very mighty queer community here. I'm honored and elated to be one of a handful of transgender individuals living out here on the edge of nowhere, which is pretty cool. Our first committee meeting was held in Farmer's Garage, which we affectionately have dubbed the only gay bar in Gerlach. And we had a turnout of about 10 eager participants, which is really amazing for our population size. And we're going to be running the first Pride event in the area, which is historic and phenomenal. And we're going to be following suit right behind Winnemucca, who has a population of about 7,500 people. And they had their first Pride parade in 2021 in July. And I think it's time for Gerlach to follow suit. So little bit about our Pride. So our aim is to make this event a community-wide, all-inclusive event for all residents of Gerlach and surrounding areas, as well as a place for our extended queer community to come to town and show their support, fly their colors, and help our community integrate into the larger LGBTQIA burner community. We have come up with an event schedule. We're really excited about what we have planned for the day. So we're going all day long. 8 a.m. first thing, 8 to 10, we're doing makeup and mimosas at Miners Cafe. That's going to include exchanging makeup with each other, dressing each other up with a costume closet, having mimosas, eating quiche, and getting excited for the day. 12 to 2 p.m., we're planning a community-wide barbecue at the community center. It's going to be outdoors under the awning. There's going to be lawn games, music. There's going to be an indoor bar, a merchandise table with pins, t-shirt, stickers. There's going to be education and outreach tables, hopefully, if we can get some people to collaborate with us on that. There's also going to be an indoor lounge and changing space for people who are out of town to get geared up and celebrate. At 4 p.m., we are having our parade on Main Street. It's our first opportunity to walk with banners, flags. We're hoping to have decorated golf carts. One of the really cool things about Gerlach is that everything's within a mile, and there's a lot of golf carts in town, so we can get like a whole rolling tribe. It'll be great. We're also going to do a catwalk and a small costume acknowledgement ceremony at the end. We're trying to keep away from like gendered awards or awards for best and this, that. We're trying to be really inclusive to the whole community here. And then lastly, we're going to end our night 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. with a queer prom. A lot of people are really excited about this part. As you probably are aware, not a lot of us queer individuals had the best prom when we were younger. And so we're gonna hopefully bring in a live DJ. We're gonna have drinks, disco balls, and a punch bowl. So the reason I'm speaking to you guys about this, we're seeking support in making this happen. We're looking for co-sponsorship, the ability to share resources with camps that already have resources. And we're looking for a boost in attendance and visibility. We would love for people from out of town to come in town and support what it is that we're doing. We're not asking for a takeover. We're going to be very clear about that. There's been some concern from other local queers that Gerlach's first Pride needs to be really rooted in Gerlach and make it our first Pride. So we're asking for support hand in hand, but not leadership necessarily, because we have that here in town. Super exciting news. Yesterday, we set up a hack club bank account to accept donations. We're still working on how to make that available for everyone to send in whatever donations they have available. And we also have set up a Gerlach Pride email account. It's just gerlachpride@yahoo.com. And I plan on sending out updates about what's going on. And our next meeting here in town is on April 9th.
Wow, that's some great information. I really appreciate you sharing all that. What's
Yes.
the date of the event?
So we are scheduled for June 18th, 2022.
Ooh.
It's a Saturday.
And it'd be nice and toasty out there too, huh?
Lovely. Yes.
Yes. Right on. That sounds really great.
We're hoping that
Are there any questions specifically for AJ at this point?
Yes. So one question from Clever is, how do we get on the mailing list?
So just email me at gerlachpride@yahoo.com. I will add you to the mailing list. I am happy to, in the next couple of days, send out the first iteration of the emails that I did, which is a recap of our committee meeting stuff. And it also has the event list on it. And then after our second meeting, I will have more updates and also hopefully a link to be able to donate and a resource list, things that we're looking for, and also a volunteer slot sheet, because we're going to need a bunch of people to make this work.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything else, Tara?
I had a question of whether there's a social media page or anything like that that we should know about.
Not yet. I will work on that. Yeah.
Well, we're very excited. It sounds amazing.
Thank you.
I mean, it's really exciting to see something like this. I mean, who would have thought after all these times we've been to Gerlach that, you know, something like this was brewing and something like this was growing. And we get to meet people like, you know, you and Farmer and Roxy that are out there, you know, fighting the good fight. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. And to sort of reminds me of when we did the Pride Parade on Playa, like 2012.
oh yeah, it's been a while since we've done that. Yeah. All right, so I think if you guys are okay, we're gonna go ahead and transition and open the floor from any questions from anybody that's here that would still like to address it from any of the speakers that we've had, or if there's something specific to the conversation we've had today. And I will move over to Terror. Is there anything in the chat that we need to come back to?
So right now we don't have any new questions in the chat, so I think we can open the floor if anyone wants to ask a question themselves, or you can put it in the chat now and I can ask it on your behalf.
Can I just say something briefly?
Go ahead, Farmer.
So just so everybody knows, I've been talking to people over the last couple of years about how people were actually scared and worried about stopping in Gerlach. Because I know some guys that were like, you know, gay bashed in Gerlach and stuff because of how they were dressed. I just want everybody to know that in the last 5 years, that town has changed drastically. There is still a few in town, but most people don't care anymore. Most of the old people that were bashing either moved away or passed away. So, and people have also told me that they've noticed the difference since I came out, because the local boy coming out, they have to accept it or not. So it's, Gerlach has changed a lot to the gay community, towards the gay community.
Thank you very much. I see something from Clever in the chat. I think that's towards Roxy.
Yeah,
so
I guess I can take this offline. We don't have to take time here. I'm interested in moving our trailers from Breen Trucking and wherever that is, Silver Spring, to your spot closer with more facilities. So we can take that offline.
I'll put up my phone number. I'll put up my phone number. You could call me.
Okay, awesome.
We can, you know, I can give you some recommendations and work with you on it.
Perfect.
That's what we're all
Trying to figure it
that's
out on
what
my
we're working
phone.
on. It's great to make connections like that. Any other questions? If not, we will start wrapping up.
I have one other question.
Who was that?
It's Brian Clever.
Yes, sir.
Can you, just a quick question about whether we're going to get any more guidance on COVID policies, expectations. What if somebody gets sick on playa? How are we supposed to navigate that? I'm not sure if anybody in this call can speak to that, but it's definitely part of the placement questionnaire. So anybody have any thoughts or direction on that?
Not sure who you would address to that. I don't know. Is Level still here, or what about KGB? Is that something that you might be able to answer?
Level left, but I don't really have the answer. It might, if they're, you know, folks who are staff on the call might know more than I do, but I don't know if even final decisions have been made on all that yet. So I think that once they are, it'll become public.
Yeah, it's being thought about, and we have a really amazing project manager who is, you know, working on that process right now. It's you know, it changes all the time. So just, I guess I'd say be patient, and I don't even know yet either, but I am following it closely because it impacts, you know, how I do, you know, my program as well. So
Got it.
I know that it will be communicated clearly when it is ready to go to the community.
Very cool. Well, thank you. That's a good question, Clever. Thank you so much. And thank you for your response, President and KGB. Well, I think episode 1 of the Rainbow Leadership series has been successful. I really appreciate everybody that's been here and helped participate in this conversation. When we're ready to put out the next episode, as it were, we'll make sure to let everybody know. I really appreciate everybody's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tuster.
You guys take care.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I'm so glad.
There's your Gerlach weather. There's your weather in Gerlach. Beautiful.
Oh, how nice.
It's a nice day out here.
Justin.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you.